States. For the United States, those are sort of the places we go to share our beliefs, right? So it isn't necessarily just places of worship of God, but places that we use for gathering centers, places where we exchange money. The other thing that I can look at is there are certain markets. So let's say Brexit in England is going to show a lot of chaos after October 31st, as can be expected, but that's from the UK's individual birth map. And it'll go on for about roughly a year, and then everything will start to settle down. And will actually look like the UK made the right decision, to be truthful. And again, I'm not putting myself on either political side of this. I'm an internationalist, so I tend to like international agreements and international alliances. But given the European Union's map or astrological chart, it doesn't look too good for them over the next 3 to 4 years. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, so 1870, there was the end of, 1870 was the last Saturn Ketu Jupiter conjunction. So we had the war, the Franco-Prussian War. We had the end of Reformation in the United States, and we also had a mild stock market panic. Now you can start to see that happening already because of fear of a trade war with China. And that will probably hit a little bit over the next few months. It'll stabilize around next February. And also I'm seeing things like, I think Bitcoin is something which is here to stay, but I'm also seeing a panic in the markets for Bitcoin over the next few months as well. The thing I would caution people about is if we're looking at the far future, let's say after 2020, is the United States, at least from the birth map of the United States, it looks like we're under increasing risk of cyber attack. And that's nothing new. This isn't like a startling revelation that I'm sharing with you. People have been talking about this for years, but I think you're actually going to see a lot of countries essentially engaged in a new kind of a war where information sources, transit systems, and even supply lines can be disrupted because we're so reliant on this massive information superhighway we've created. So I think those are the things that I would look at if I were in stocks. And I'm not in stocks, but if I were in stocks, I would invest a lot of money in cybersecurity because that field is going to skyrocket over the next few years. The other thing I want to talk about just briefly is Saturn will affect certain signs fairly well when it goes direct. It's still problematic for, so let's go through all the signs and just go how the month will go for them, and we'll particularly emphasize Saturn, what Saturn's going to do. For Aries, it'll give new bosses, new leadership. There'll be a change in direction in leadership, which a lot of people have been waiting for. So you'll actually see people switching out, people getting changed around, and gone, but also new and better people coming in, but still some confusion until at least February. In other parts of life, Aries has to watch out for illnesses, as I said the last broadcast. It has to watch out but there'll be and also for over optimism. But basically, it looks like a good few months for Aries. Taurus, Jupiter's in the 7th house from Taurus, so that protects the sign pretty much. That's May 15th to June 15th. Saturn's going to be in the 8th house, so there'll be any disputes about property owed or money owed. Those will be taken care of or addressed relatively quickly. I also think Taurus relationship partners have been have fallen on rather difficult times, so you'll start to see them start to pull away from obstructions to wealth and obstructions to financial progress. But you'll also see a lot of focus on children and also on luck in the Taurus sign, because the 5th house is going to be packed this month, and there'll be romantic involvements or even chances of romantic engagements for single Taurians, and but also a lot of criticism, a lot of critical assessment as to whether or not this person is the right person. For Gemini, over the next 2 months, Gemini has, so this is going to be October and November. Gemini has had a very tough year, 2 years, actually 2.5 years, because Saturn's been aspecting Gemini. Saturn will finally move into the 8th house in February. It'll finally be free of restrictions, but also Saturn and Ketu together has caused this sign a great deal of confusion about relationships, and also essentially stationed it in terms of relationships, so the relationship life hasn't moved forward. That'll start to shift a little bit after November, and it'll start to shift more after December. We have eclipses happening in that sign in December, and there'll be new and unexpected relationship opportunities coming around that time. But really more stability coming in February. So that's the Saturn transit. For Cancer, which is essentially July 15th through August 15th, those people born during that time, or people whose rising sign or moon is in that sign, you'll see a lot more stability for that sign, especially they've had trouble with communications with spouses, they've had trouble with fulfilling their desires or their ambitions. You'll start to see that lift around October, and you'll start to see their relationship life start to improve in December. But also for people who are continuing to have problems in relationships, you'll also see a lot of marriages dissolve next year, but not right away. For Leos are essentially August 15th to September 15th. That particular sign should look forward to a lot of money. It should look forward to more family stability, less repair breakdowns at home, and more opportunities for travel over the year. For Virgos, that's between September 15th and October 15th. That particular sign will have more stability in home life, more direction, more certainty in terms of what they want emotionally. They'll have more opportunities to make that happen. They'll have more opportunities for long distance travel over the next couple of months. For Libras, that's those born between October 15th to November 15th, you'll see an increased ambition and increased drive, even some promotional opportunities, but they'll be ephemeral. They won't really amount to very much. And you'll also see them starting to break off and separate a little bit from their work environment. So work won't be quite as important to them. Religion will be more important to them. For Scorpios, that's between November 15th and December 15th. You'll see increased financial growth, increased financial possibilities. That'll last pretty much through next February, and you'll also see increased determination and increased work ethic happening for those people over the next few months. Sagittarius has had a horrible time of it over the past couple of years. That's December 15th to January 15th. And you'll see that particular sign actually start to get more ambitious, less confused about direction, greater fulfillment of ambitions and desires, and greater self-confidence. Capricorn will be between December 15th, that'll be between January 15th and February 15th. A lot of expenses popping up over the next few months, but also a lot of financial growth to address those expenses. A lot of career growth for that particular sign as well over the next couple of months. For Aquarius, which is essentially February 15th through March 15th, you'll see a great deal of luck, increased financial luck, increased financial gains over the next 5 to 6 months. You'll start to see some hemming in of them, and increased responsibilities for leadership over the next 2.5 years. So this is the start of what's called a Sati, or a 7.5-year transit of Saturn. If the person goes into that particular time expecting to take on new responsibilities and learn new things, they're perfect. If they go into it expecting it to be easy, they're in for a rude awakening, but they'll have a great many opportunities. And Aquarius leads into Pisces. Pisces is March 15th to April 15th. Pisces will have great career opportunities over the next couple of months, increased relationship opportunities, and also, especially for single Pisces, but they do have to watch out for relationship partners being dishonest with them. I'll include some more detailed astrological knowledge in subsequent broadcasts. Namaste.